Now,
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Kiwi.
yes, we promised that he actually would be back. It was Dylan Storey, astronomy enthusiast, brought to you by the Stardome Observatory in Auckland City, and he is back to talk about the night sky, what you can see in the night sky at the moment, and particularly at the moment also news about the International Space Station. Hello to you, Dylan.
Good morning, Wammo.
Morning. Now, the International Space Station, what is going on up there above the Earth at the moment?
Well, it's a massive, great big thing. It's 108 metres long, so it's about the size of a football field orbiting the Earth.
I didn't know that it was that big. That's huge.
It's huge, yeah. And you can see it from here on Earth. And you would have been able to see it this morning at about 6:30, passing over.
And the night sky at the moment is rather clear, so it probably would have been a great opportunity.
It's been really clear the last few nights. Yeah, the stars have been great. Also, tomorrow morning, if you look up in the sky at about 5 to 7, so just before the Radio Wammo show starts, you want to look towards the south-southwest, and it will be heading across towards the southeast.
And what should it look like? I mean, will it look like a star?
It'll look like a star, like a very bright star. I mean, once you if you're sort of used to viewing the sky, you'll notice the difference between this and a star. It's got a slightly different appearance, but basically it's a light like a star. And it's very bright. It's brighter than the brightest star. It'll be brighter probably tomorrow morning than even Venus.
Yeah. And how fast will it be moving?
It'll spend a couple of minutes in the sky. So if you imagine it it'll sort of track slowly across the sky, or very, very easily discernible movement.
And obviously, I mean, it's going fairly fast. I mean, how often does it circle the globe?
15.7 times a day.
Okay.
So that's very fast. 27,000 kilometers per hour. That's the speed of near Earth orbit.
Yeah.
And it's about it varies between about 360 and about 420 kilometers up.
So it's not on a perfect orbit. Does that mean so it's slightly off its axis, off its kilter?
It is slightly oblong, yeah. So at parts of its orbit it's further away, but the variation in its height is usually due to the fact that its orbit degrades.
Yeah.
So various gravitational nuances, and the fact that up there is still a little bit of atmosphere. There's a few particles of gas around which slow it down, and so as it slows down, its orbit degrades and it gets lower. So about every year they have to burn rockets to basically speed it up, to boost it up into a higher orbit.
Oh, okay.
That's when it will go up to about 420 k's, and then over the course of the year it'll get down to about 360.
So if they did nothing at all, eventually it would plummet to Earth.
That's right. Yep. It would eventually come down, and depending on the angle that it's going in, it would most likely burn up in the atmosphere, because it's so big. It would be a great big bright thing burning up.
Yeah.
And there would be danger of some parts of it coming down and landing on Earth.
Yeah. In fact, they brought something down that was quite large a few years ago, didn't they? Into the Pacific.
Yeah. So they had to be very careful to sort of calculate that angle that it's going to enter the atmosphere, so it doesn't generates the minimum heat. Maximum heat.
So, all right, so that it burns up. Any idea what is happening on the International Space Station at the moment?
Well, a new crew just went up in June, and there's 6 members, and they rotate the crew, so there's always people living on there, between 3 and 6 people. I think it can hold up to 8. And the basic point of it is to do scientific experiments to advance science. So they're doing all sorts of things there, all the sciences, biology, chemistry. They're hatching eggs and germinating seeds, seeing how they behave in zero gravity. Also, a big part of it is to see how people can survive for long periods in zero gravity. Well, it's not quite zero gravity; it's almost zero gravity. So, seeing how we might take the next step out into space,
like for example, a long journey to Mars or something.
Yeah. Mars would be at least a 6-month journey, and see how people can actually survive that. Now, there's various factors. The lack of gravity is a big factor, so that that causes the muscle and bones to degrade quite severely. So the astronauts actually have to exercise for 2 to 4 hours each day just to compensate for not walking around in gravity and having the stress placed on your bones that does. That's what a human being needs.
Yeah, yeah.
So they've got all these special machines to exercise to compensate for that.
Okay. Well,
another big thing
yeah.
is the radiation they're exposed to, because they're out of most of the Earth's atmosphere. They're still protected by the magnetic field, but they are exposed to roughly the amount of radiation that a normal person on Earth would receive in a year.
Oh, right.
They'll get in a day.
So how do they offset that?
They basically don't. We don't have the technology. They're trying to shield it, but the technology is just not there to shield that sort of radiation. So just they try and minimize its effects by sort of counteracting with a healthy diet to promote immunity. Also because of that, their immunity goes down. So if someone does bring a cold up there or a virus, which inevitably happens, then it spreads between crew members quite quickly.
Let's in the future, because I do want to continue space station talk, and particularly about how the Americans are going to be involved with the space station in the future, knowing the fact that their shuttle fleet is going to be retired. We'll talk about that in the future, but I do quickly, just before you want to go, find out what else is in the night sky at the moment and notable and can be viewed.
Right. Well, so the ISS can be seen in the morning sky, and Jupiter. That's very bright. But usually I don't get up in the morning. I'm usually viewing the evening sky. So we've got a very bright thing over there in the west that most people will have noticed if they're commuting or out at night. It's much brighter than anything else. That's planet Venus.
Right.
And there are 3 planets visible in the evening sky at the moment. So above Venus you've got Mars, which will have a distinct red colour. And then above that you've got Saturn, which will have a slight yellow colour.
And Venus is the first star in the sky?
Yeah, you'll be able to see it before it gets dark. It's sort of just after the sun sets. You'll be able to see Venus there.
And that's when you make a wish, Dylan.
Oh, I should try that one day. That would be a lot of wishes for me then over the last few years.
Exactly. Hey, if people want to get more involved with astronomy at the moment, there is a free public lecture at the Stardome, Dylan.
That's right. The Astronomical Society are putting that on. That's on Saturday, I believe.
Yep, at 7 p.m. Cosmic Quest, A History of Astronomy. That should be absolutely fascinating stuff. Dylan, thanks so much for your time.
No worries. And if you want to find out more about the ISS and astronauts and things like that, the Stardome is running a show about astronauts at 7 o'clock each night.
Oh, cool.
Followed by a talk on the topic of the month, which is kind of tied in. It's this month it's on the Apollo moon landings.
Great. Excellent stuff. Thanks very much, Dylan.
Thanks, Wammo.